Okay, first and say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Shema, Shai, Bashim, Kakudash. I'm your Devanas of elders, apostles, teachers, great millstone from my learning to shoot. Now say Shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel. And I'm going to cern this on something the elder apostle Gabar mentioned in a video of how the prophet, the lifestyle of a prophet is not a glamorous one. And you know, when you think about what the prophets of old actually went through as a whole, it wasn't like a glamorous, fun type of thing. You know, it was, and you know, one of the things about it is that one of the reasons why it's not glamorous is because the whole thing was about you know, our people repenting and coming back to Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, we had to start back from square one to rebuild our nation. And you know, when you're starting from scratch and building something, whether it be coding, whether it be...
In 2 miles, use the left lane to take exit 4A for I-94 East toward Port Huron.
Whether it be writing a piece of music, or whether it be, you know, creating a piece of art. The beginning stages are, you know, you have something called a rough draft, or whether it's, you know, create, you know, like a piece of writing, like, you know, like actual, like an essay, right? You have your rough draft, you have your sketch, and it's rough. You know, it's not all that beautiful until you get to the final stages, you know. But we're right now, mainly right now, we're in the beginning, you know, of, you know, building our nation, you know, building back from square one. Some niggas say build back better. That's, you know, that's one of the reasons why it's not a like a glamorous lifestyle. Not only that, but when you go into the job of a prophet, which is to warn the people, mainly to warn the people of impending doom. A lot of, like, that's not something that sits well with a lot of people, and especially Jake. Because what I think it was Paul that, you know, he was talking about how he was shipwrecked. I think it was a few times. He was beaten multiple times. You know, the prophets. Yeah, I think it was, what was it? I think it was Peter that was in prison. All the prophets were murdered. Damn near all of them were fucking murdered.
In half a mile, use the left lane to take exit 4A for I-94 East toward Port Huron.
And you know, they were not only that, but they were outcasted by the very same people whom they came to warn, because, you know, you're warning people of impending doom, and, you know, like, once again, that's not
use
something
the left lane to take exit 4A.
right with the majority of people, mind you, with people who are taking in pleasure. And, you know, like, once again, that's how you know that that's how you know that
continue on I-94 East for
today,
6 miles.
The Negroes, the Americans, Latinos are the Israelites. That's how you know, because they carry those, they are the same people. They're, you know, they have those same characteristics. But there's a verse that mentions how what seeing the prophets saw far off the you know, the prize of what they were working for, and like what, especially when you go into back then, you know, you had the prophets that died not getting to see the kingdom, but, you know, we get to, you know, we're, Lord willing, you know, we'll be able to see the kingdom now. But they died in that hope, you know, pretty much as a prophet, not only just, you know, with prophesying and preaching, but because, like, you know, we're in the truth. We, you know, you got to prophesy, you got to preach, you got, you know, got to do things tending to the church. But also in our daily lives, you know, in this society, you have to take the low. You have to take an L. You know, even if you're in the right, you have to take an L. Because, you know, it's a long-term thing. You know, there's not always what, like, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. And just like Lot vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, you know, you have to endure. And like that word going to patience. I'm going to pull up this word, Revelation 14:12, because it mentions patience. And that's once again, that's another thing that the people don't like. You know, having to delayed gratification, which on the onset It's not a fun thing. Here's the patience and faith of the saints, that keepeth the commandments of the Lord, of the faith of Yahweh and the faith of Yahweh Shai. When you go into the word patience, and you got a lot of guys that think that it's about getting money, or you may have, you got guys that were losers in the world, and they saw the truth and they said maybe they
head
could be
northeast on I-94 East.
Which, once again, that's not what it's about. It's about building our nation, establishing a foundation, which is why you got the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. They're constantly getting on, not only getting on the brothers in GMS, but also getting on these other camps, because it's about building a proper and sturdy foundation. And then when we get into the kingdom, that's when we get all the glamorous shit. Not shit, but that's where we get all the glamorous stuff. That's where you can get the fame and all the women you want. But Jake, once again, delayed gratification. And Jake wants to get it now, but it's not right now. Like, you can get all the women you want, but they're all corrupted. Damn near all of them are corrupted in some form or fashion or another. Here it is in America. You can have your own little makeshift kingdom, if you would, but you're gonna have to pay taxes to another man. You can have, your little watered down version of what you would consider the kingdom, or what you would consider getting yours, but it's nothing compared to what it's nothing compared to what the kingdom is. But patience, steadfastness, consistency, endurance. And I think the word suffering is associated with patience as well. It's a synonym for patience as well. But suffering, and the elder apostle Gabar mentioned how you got to suffer. Why? Because once again, either way you go, there's going to be suffering, but that's not what Jake wants. But the scriptures talk about how the Lord, what his servants are going to eat. There's another one, I can't really quote it that well, but his servants are going to eat. Meanwhile,
in
all
2
these
miles,
other niggas
take
are
exit
going to starve.
222A toward Chalmers Avenue, Outer Drive.
For gladness of heart. Meanwhile, these other niggas will howl for vexation of spirit. Like what? Why? Because the servants of the Lord, the elect, they waited. They had patience. They went through the they took the hits and they went through the the trials first, and then they get to reap the rewards. But Jake wants the rewards now, mind you. Once again, either way you go about it, you're going to have to take part in suffering. Whether you take the suffering now or you take it later, there's going to be suffering involved. No matter, that's how it works. And usually, even when you go into the world, right? You got this. There's this picture I saw a little while ago, going to how you had. Would you rather sacrifice, a few years for the rest of your life, or would you rather sacrifice the rest of your life for a few years? And what would you rather? Like going into the
in a half mile, take exit 222A toward Chalmers Avenue, Outer Drive.
Or the situation of a starry-eyed, fresh out of high school college student. You have a lot of them that will go in college. They'll party, or you may just have people in general that go into college and they'll party.
Take exit 222A.
In life, they'll party their younger years away. Instead of putting time into learning skills.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Chalmers Street.
Into learning things that could benefit you in the long run, instead of sacrificing that now, They want to party, they want to have fun, and you see that a lot with women. You know, like what they spend their younger years getting their backs blown out, and then when they get older, that's that's when they want to so-called lock in. When they have a kid, when they're tired, when they're weak. Because like what, the older you get, the weaker you get. So like what's better to use
At
that
the light,
strength
turn
now
left
to
onto
get all
Chalmers
that
Street,
bullshit
then
out the
slide
way.
right onto Hayes Street.
But I mention that just as a simple, just a simple parallel with the truth and with the kingdom. Why? Because once again, why we're here now. Because like what, Jacob's trouble, like there's a spiritual fire, and then there's a physical fire. Which would you rather go to? The spiritual fire, which is going through, the spiritual vexations. Now, Lot vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. He endured, like once again, we don't know all of the intricacies that was going on up
Head
until
east on East
we saw
Edsel Ford
what
Service
happened
Drive
with Lot
east
and
toward
the
Chalmers
angels.
Street, then turn left onto Chalmers Street.
We know that it was,
At the light,
wicked as
turn
fuck.
left
There
onto
was all
Chalmers
types of
Street,
evil
then
going
slide
on.
right onto Hayes Street.
But we don't know the
At the light,
intricacies
slide right
of
onto
everything
Hayes Street.
that went on, in his life up until then, which he had to endure seeing it dealing with, it was a city. He was living there. There was business going on there. He had to deal with he had to look a faggot in the face, and tally off whatever he was trading out or doing whatever, He had to touch the same paper that some dirty ass faggot nigga just laid his fucking filthy hands on. He had to hear, these niggas parading around doing whatever the fuck it was that they were doing, in the city. But he endured that, and what? He ended up surviving that physical fire. And it's the same thing now. Like, going to the truth, especially the life of a prophet, you got these niggas that, want fancy garments. There's nothing wrong with one fancy garment. There's nothing wrong, but it's what comes with it. Like what? Because like what? It's not just a fancy garment. Like there's other things, like, there's fame, there's notoriety, money, taking advantage of our people. Just like you see what these other camps are doing, which is what usually comes with all of that. And when you go into the prophets, they were rough, they're beaten, murdered, outcasted, put in prison. And chief example, Yahweh Shai, who was murdered for no fuck, well, it was written, but on a worldly level for no reason, because the fuckers, they were I don't even want to say they were jealous, but yeah, they were fucking jealous. They didn't think, I forgot where it said it, but they didn't want, they pretty much didn't want their spot, their high seats in their places to be taken. They didn't want our people to follow, to turn from following them to follow Yahweh Shai. So they had them murdered, and they even managed to convince the people that were under them to to join in with that. So and it was all, once again, it was Stephen being murdered. It was always like that. It like, obviously you had your moments of like reprieve, if that's the right word, but in general, the whole job of a prophet, once again, one of the main things is telling people that, hey, if you don't get right, you're going to die. And like what, you telling someone to die, that they're not going to respond. That's not something that they respond with, oh well, okay. They responded with violence, talking shit. And once again, the same thing going on now. You got a lot of mainly Jake, that will act like an asshole and be a fucking retard when when you say certain things, like especially these stupid fucking nigger women. But they'll be assholes, talking shit about the men of the Lord, who are, mind you, like, once again, giving a warning. But I'm not gonna go on anymore. That was pretty much it. Hope is that fine. Slacky, I couldn't get a ton of scriptures. I am driving, but say all praises going down to Yahweh, Shema Shah, Bashim Dash, Devon, Sapasa, Teacher, Milson, Brother, Truth, Shalom, to hopefully like Israel, instruction, but on great America.